everybody, welcome. So basically, in this individual tarot card reading, this could be for Capricorn, and this could be for December 7th to December 13th of 2025. So basically, for you, Capricorn, I know that how things are in your own movement, your own ability, but yet you have to understand about your own right and wrong perspective. That's all you can do. But this is how it is. This is the way of how it works. This is the way of how everything is. So, technically you have to understand about how you're going to play by the rules and understand of how it's going to be. And you think that to yourself is like, well, it's going to be very interesting. I don't know what to do, but this is how it is. We're trying to take it as a wonderful way about how it is. This is not a grain of salt. This is not a grain of pepper. This is not the grain of everything. You know what I mean? But the way of this is, you have to understand about the way of this is, because this is the way it's going to be. So, I'm going to tell you what the cards are, and you will see it eventually. So the justice here is you're not telling the truth, you're lying about something, right? It's in reverse. Knight Cups reverse, there's no romance here. I have no idea why. Knight Wands reverse, there's no fear here. High Priest reverse, there's no inner voice. The Chariot reverse, there's no progress. But the Eight of Pentacles, it does resent Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus in that way, but it says everything is all perfection. Well, everything is not perfection. But the way this is the way of how it looks in this situation. So this is how it goes. So let me clarify. I'm going to clarify this justice, the Knight of Cups, and this Knight of Wands here. The Queen of Cups is over, there's empathy, judgment is over, there's that knowledge. Page sorcerers, no education. Empress Eurus, there's no nourishment. Eight Cups Eurus, there's no entertainment. The Tarot is over, there's transformation. So everything's changing, right? That's how it goes, because that's how we're going to look at it. What's this Knight of Wands here? The Death card is over. There's endings here, but you're focusing on Scorpio as a water sign. So this is how it goes. So things are going to be as it goes along, as it seems to be. Just remember that you're going to look at the cards eventually. Watch this. High Priestess, Eight of Pentacles, and this Chariot card. Now, the King of Sorcerers, there's no nourishment. Ten of Sorcerers, there's no conclusions. Nine of Pentacles reverse, there's no trust. Four reverse, there's no change. Wheel of Fortune reverse, there's bad luck. Ace of Wands reverse, there's no new beginnings. Ace of Pentacles over, there's prosperity about money. That's how it goes, because you're focusing on what you're going to be doing in the here and now of the situation. You might be dealing with another Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. You might deal with another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio in that way, because you have to focus on that. You focus about the here and now of this whole entire situation, no matter how it goes, right? It's like how it is. So you have to understand of how it is in this way. So look at this for a minute. So this is what I'm talking to you about, because this is the way it works. So I guarantee you that when this is very interesting, this is like precise. This is how significant it is, because when you do it, it's like everything's gonna be all good, because you think to yourself and say, well, why me? I don't want this anymore, or this is how it goes. This is like how it is, because this is not like a outfitting of the situation, right? So you have to understand the way of this is. You have to know by the way of how you're going to do it in that perspective. It's like things are going to be all good, but how you're going to do it, it's like this is how precise, this is the way of how it works, because that's how it goes. So things are going to look at as a different equation, because that's how it goes, right? So it's like when you're saying, well, 5 plus 5 is 10, but 5 plus 5 is 9, not 10. Well, you have to look at it in different perspective. That's all you can do. But Capricorn, you need to understand where you have to face your own motto to understand what you're doing in that way. It's like, okay, well, it's very interesting. I need to take a stand. I need to do exactly how it plays out. That's what it seems to be. So you need to focus on that similarity of knowing what to do in that way, right? So let's see. So let me clarify this Queen of Cups here. Eight of Wands reverse, there's no speed, okay? What's between this King of Swords here? The Queen of Wands, sorry, there's charisma. Okay, so we understand what's happening in this situation. So this is how I'm going to fit this in, because in this way, okay, so, hear me out. So I know that this is not a solitaire, but let's pretend this is solitaire. Now, you can't put a black ace or a heart or anything like that. You can't, right? So pretend that this is how it goes, right? So in the tarot, the situation for you, Capricorn, you need to understand about what's approved and what doesn't approve, so you know what I mean. So in that way, if I try to grab one of the cards and I say what's going on, I see what's going on. So what's going on between this A1s here? The Sun carry Earth, there's negativity, alright? What's between this Queen Wands here? High Priestess, alright? So you're using your inner voice, okay? So what's happening between this Sun card here? The High Priestess, alright? So you're using your inner voice, alright? What's between this High Priestess? The Temperance, alright? There's healing. Okay, so you know how I'm going to put the cards in order, in different order fashion, right? So whether this is going to be appealing to you or not, that's how it goes. So let me clarify this High Priestess card, which is yours. So there's no skill. What's this Temperance about? The Hermit yours is no solitude, because you already have a soulmate. Between this Magician, Empress, alright, there's nourishment. Okay, what's this? The Hermit card? Emperor yours, there's no structure. See what I mean? That's how it goes. So now when we look at this Empress, we have the inner voice, right? We're using our nourishment because we're being nourished. Okay, that's how it goes. Now, while we focus on that, let me try to figure out what's going on between this Empress card. Death card yours, there's no endings. Okay, what's this Emperor about? Fool yours, there's no change. Right, back to this Death card here. Lotus yours, there's no decisions. What's between this Fool card? The Wheel of Fortune is upright. There's upright. There's basically good luck on this side. What's between this Lovers? The Chariot yours, there's no progress. Right? So let me see clarify this Chariot card. The Star yours, there's no inspiration. The World of yours, there's incompletion. Heyman is alright, there's restrictions, right? So you're being restricted. So things are not going as planned, but when you look at them, you have to look at them into a different perspective, a different equation of knowing what to do. It's like, okay, well, I don't want to face facts here. By the way, how this is, you do, right? It's the way of how you're going to try to plan it in order to do that, right? This is how it's going to be. So let me figure out this Hangman here. Hierophant is upright, there's guidance. King Pentacles over, there's prosperity about money, because you're focusing on your work. You're focusing about the way how this is. It's like, okay, well, I know what to do. This is like a bottom half of the situation. Yes, but you need to understand that. What's this Wheel of Fortune about? Strength is upright, there's bravery. The 2 Wands over, there's planning. That's how it goes, right? So you're planning on the way how you're feeling in that way, right? That's how it goes. What's between this King Pentacles and this 2 Wands here? The Fool is upright, there's change. So, everything's changing, right? So I just said this earlier, right? So now, while I'll put this into perspective, I'm going to go from the middle of this situation. So the Devil is upright. There's basic obsessions, addictions. It does represent Capricorn here, right? It does represent you as an earth sign. So now, while we're going to be doing this back and forth situation, I'm going to figure out that what's going on this Devil side, on the left side. Strength of yours, there's no bravery, so you're being scared. What's on the opposite side? High Priestess here, there's no voice, right? Now, back to the Strength card. Magician yours, there's no skill. High Priestess. Judgment yours, there's no action. Back to the Magician. The Empress over, there's structure. What's between this Judgment? Death card yours, there's no endings. Opposite. Hierophant is upright, there's guidance. See? So you see a wonderful picture, right? That's how it goes. So this is between that. Now, between the Devil situation, I'm going to figure out what's going on here. Empress Uranus, there's no nourishment. Cancer Uranus, there's no healing. Wheel of Fortune's already, you're gonna have good luck, right? So this is how it goes, right? So you think that, oh, everything's fine, yes, but in not necessarily. It's like how you're going to interpret in a different perspective, right? So now you think, okay, well, everything's fine, yes, but let me see it. So let me see what's between this Emperor card and this Devil here. Let me clarify. Let's see what's going on here for Capricorn. So I'm going to go to do a 3-card reading. So the Emperor reverse, there's no structure. The Empress reverse, there's no nourishment. Full reverse, there's no change, right? Now I'm going to clarify between the Emperor, the Empress, and the Fool. The Hermit is upright, they're solitude, so you're looking for a soulmate, right? That's how it goes. Now, let's see about the opposite side of this Hierophant. Warriors is in completion. For once over there's celebration, yeah, because you're basically saying that you're being celebrated. So who knows? You might be doing within a Leo, Aries, Sagittarius in that way, because you're focusing on the here and now of this situation, right? So what's this Wheel of Fortune about? So I'll do a 3-card reading. 10 of Swords is upright. There's conclusions. 6 Swords are there's movement, and in the terms of there's healing. Yeah, because the way how this is, the way how I'm going to say it, this is the way how it works, right? So this is how it goes. Whether you know it, you know the way how this is, and then you think, okay, well, this seems to be very interesting. But this is how it goes, right? So it's like you think to yourself and say, well, you know, I need to do it as long as it needs to. But this is how it goes. So we're going to go from the middle to the right, middle to the left. 2 of Swords is upright. So you don't know which path you're going to take, left or right. So let me clarify between the left side, please. 5 Wands over there's chaos. Alright, what's on the right side? 8 Pentacles here is no perfection. Right, so I'm going to go from the right side, please. 8 Wands here is no new beginnings. Emperor's here says no nourishment. For Wands over there's celebration. Yeah, that's how it goes, right? So you're focusing on that. What's between this 5 Wands here on the left side? 6 Swords here says no movement. 9 of Wands over there's immaturity. Yeah, because you're acting like, oh, everything's fine. No, because when you're acting like when you're being immaturity, because you're being immature. So Capricorn, you need to understand that you have to face your own facts. You face your own abilities to understand that, right? That's how it goes. What's between these 4 Wands here? 7 Pentacles over, you're basically knowing about your career. 2 Cups over, there's relationships, and Queen of Pentacles over, there's stability. That's how it goes. So you're thinking about your career because you're focusing on that. You want stability, you want relationships, you want things to be happening all at once because that's how it goes. What's between this 9 Wands here? 6 Wands are there's achievement. King Aquarius there's no support. Taurus there's no transformation. 10 of Swords are there's conclusions. Yeah, because that's how it goes. So it's like things are going to be happening all at once. But then you think to yourself, well, this is how it goes. I need to comply. I need to do it. That's the way it seems to be. You have to know exactly how it is because you have your own strengths, your own abilities to understand that. What's in the middle? 7 Cups are there's a delusion. Yeah, so you might have a specific reason about knowing what to do, and when you do it, it's like, okay, well, everything seems to be fine, satisfactory of how it goes, right? This is the way it seems to be. So, you know, this is how it goes. But the way how this is, the way how I'm going to say in a different perspective for you, Capricorn, you need to understand that whether things are going to be good or bad or sensitive, whether you pay attention. Yes, you think that everything's fine and everything's all good, but you know, you need to understand whether you have to understand that there are times where you need to understand, and you know that's how it goes, right? So you have to believe about how it goes. But if you have a delusion, it means that you're having a deja vu moment. That's how it goes. So I hope you all like this video. Please get a like, please leave a comment if you want, but this is the way it happens, and when you do it, that's how it goes, right? This is the way it seems to be. So you have to believe it, and you have to, accept it of how it goes. So this seems to be. But thank you so much. Have a wonderful day to you all. Thank you, and bye.